Hi guys! So I wanted to share with you some tips today that have really helped me in my life, and they're pertaining to the specific topic of body image. And this is something that I've struggled with for about 11 years now. And it's such a huge topic, especially because in society we tend to have one specific image of beauty, but the reality of it is that everyone has their different perspectives on beauty, and no matter what you look like, you are beautiful in your own way. And that sounds super cliche and super cheesy, but it's so true. And I truly believe that these tips can really help you discover the beauty that you already have. So let's jump right in. Tip number 1. So if you're on Instagram or any other social media and you follow other people, you see their body, and you don't have that specific body type, what it tends to do to you is that you can compare yourself to that other person, and you can, and especially because you don't look like that, it can really mess with your mental health. And so what I started doing is that I started noticing that basically all the women that I was following had like this specific small body type, and it was just a body type that I could never attain, especially because I'm a little bit more curvy. And I unfollowed them and I started following a bunch of other women who had my specific body type, and this changed my life drastically. There would be times where I didn't like going on Instagram because I just felt really bad about myself looking at these other women and feeling like no matter what I do, I just can't attain this body type. And I realized that's okay. Like, it's okay that you can't attain a specific body type because you're not meant to look like that. So the people that I started following had a much similar body type to mine, and it helped me so much because seeing them embrace their body made me love my body so much more, especially because they'd be in bikinis and they'd be showing off a lot of their body, and it really, yeah, it just really helped me a lot. So that's all for that tip. Tip number 2. So moving on to tip number 2, I recommend that you guys get into intuitive eating. And if you don't know what that is, I highly recommend that you research it. This is not specifically a diet. If anything, it's kind of the anti-diet, which is why I love it so much. And it basically gives you a set amount of habits that you can incorporate into your daily life when you eat, so that you start to pay attention to your body and see what it really needs. So for example, sometimes what a lot of us do, me especially, is we tend to emotionally eat. So when we're feeling a specific way and we want to feel better about that, we tend to go to a chocolate bar, or we tend to eat or whatever, and we aren't actually really hungry. And that can mess with your digestive system, and it can also gain you a lot of calories that you actually don't need. And again, like, calories don't really matter in this diet, but it's more about, are you eating because you're hungry, or are you eating because you're bored or you're thirsty, or you're trying to suppress an emotion. And what it does also is that if you are emotional, it teaches you to sit with your emotion, and instead of going for that craving and going for the fridge. So what starts to happen is that instead of having really bad coping mechanisms and creating really bad habits, you start to form a really healthy relationship with yourself. And if you're emotional and you feel all of your emotions, then you tend to notice that that's all it is. It's just an emotion. It's going to go away. and it can't come up and go through unless you allow it to. And so in that, it also teaches you not to suppress your emotions. And another really good habit is that it teaches you to eat when you're hungry and then stop when you're full. And sometimes what I specifically tend to do, and other people, is you have this set plate of food and you tend to eat everything on that plate, but you're really not that hungry. And so it just teaches you really good habits. So I highly recommend you guys look into that if you're more interested. I'll include a link down below. And you can just go on Google. There's a bunch of articles. There's even a book on intuitive eating. So that's all for that tip. Moving on to tip number 3. So you may have heard this tip before, and this can help for a lot of other things, but it is positive affirmations. And if you don't know what that is, what positive affirmations are is that it could be a mantra, a saying, whatever it is, and it positively affirms whatever you're trying to get across. So say, for example, pertaining to this video, you don't like your body, so you positively affirm that I love my body, I love my body, I love my body. You can go a step further and say, if you don't like a specific body part, say you don't like your thighs, you positively affirm, I love my thighs, I love my thighs, I love my thighs. And you can do this at night, you can do this as soon as you wake up in the morning. It really doesn't matter. You can even say it in front of the mirror. Whatever really suits you. But what it does is that it trains the subconscious mind to form better ideas about your body. When you train it subconsciously and you repeat patterns consciously, then it becomes a subconscious reaction. And what you can also do along with this is, if there is a specific body part that you don't like, say, for example, mine is my tummy. So I'll grab some of my favorite lotion and I'll rub my tummy, and then I'll say these positive affirmations, and it really actually helps. Like, I really start to see a difference when I do that. And it also helps that if you start saying these affirmations and you put lotion on that specific body part, sometimes what can happen is emotions will come up, and that's good. You want them to come up, and my best advice is just to feel them. And it may be uncomfortable at first, but then when you start to do it more, you start to get more comfortable with that. And what you'll find is that you'll stop suppressing emotions and instead feeling them. So yeah, that's really all I have for that tip, and that wraps up all my tips. And I hope these tips help you guys. They've really been helping me in my life. I've struggled for a really, really long time with my body, and I still do. I still look in the mirror, and there's still flaws that I'd love to change, and it isn't easy, but with enough work and with enough love and with enough acceptance, it can start to get easier and easier. You can start to catch yourself when you are being negative about your body, or you can just start to love your body more and more, even though it's not perfect. All right, well, I hope these tips help you guys. If you have any questions, let me know in the comments down below. And I hope you guys have a beautiful day or night, whatever you are experiencing in the world. Namaste.